Hey, if you want to succeed in business and in life, you have to have this one quality. To find out what that quality is, stay tuned. We'll talk about it next. Hey, my name is Chaffee Tondwin, and this over here is Mr.
Scott Patton. How are you doing, Chaffee?
Awesome. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing excellent.
I see a new again location in your back as your digital nomad life takes over and you traveled somewhere else.
That is correct. I am in the beautiful city of Fort Myers, Florida. I flew here from Honolulu, Hawaii on Sunday, I think. Yes, nice. Sunday. Left Sunday night, arrived here Monday afternoon. 6 hours difference. Woo. And I'm surprised. It made a big difference in my sleep because I was wide awake at like 4 a.m. when I should have been sound asleep.
Why would you be surprised if there's a 6-hour difference?
Normally, it's not a problem for me, but
got it.
This time, 2 days, 4 a.m, I'm like tossing and turning because it's 7 p.m. in Hawaii.
I think it's
be out sailing.
I think it's more because you don't hear the ocean in the background, calming you to sleep.
That's a really good point because I was sleeping on a sailboat or I was sleeping at the North Shore and you could hear the waves.
See, there you go.
Yeah, that's what it was. I need to get one of those recordings of ocean waves.
That's right. Calming and soothing. By the way, before we get into today's topic, I do want to mention that today is Good Friday. So I want to wish everyone a happy Good Friday and Easter weekend. And
happy Easter, everyone.
And welcome them to this broadcast. And, Good Friday, I think every Friday is a good Friday. Every Monday is a good Monday. Every day you wake up is a good day, because if you don't wake up, then you can't do anything. So
that's a good point.
Scott, I do want to bring up too that you and I just did a quick, short personality test. And that personality test, I didn't get the time to go into detail of what your results were. Only I think my results were interesting. I mean, and they were kind of on point with anything. With a lot of these, there's a lot of good points with these personality tests. And mine was I came out as a dreamer minstrel, or minstrel dreamer. And one of the traits there was always seeing the positive side of things and believing in people and believing in things.
Mine was the kindly king or something like that.
The ruler, I think it was the kindly ruler.
Yes. So my comment was, kneel before me now.
That's right. So you take care of things while I, am the dreamer and the believer pushing things through, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of that, today's topic is the one trait that you have to have in order to succeed in business and life. And that topic, Scott, is right on point with my results, which is the power of beliefs and what you believe in and how do you believe in it. And so I guess the first question that I want to bring up for a lot of the viewers and people watching is, Scott, if I don't believe in something, how can I achieve it? Like, what do I need to do in order to believe in something?
Well, I think if you don't believe in something, you're not going to achieve it. Generally, I mean, there's always going to be exceptions, but the power of your belief in what it is that you want to do has in the past moved mountains. Like, we can talk about a lot of people who historically, going back thousands and thousands of years, that it was their belief that created the greatness in their life, and which is why we still remember them. But I think in bringing it to a personal level, if I don't believe I can do something, I'm not even going to bother trying. And we see that a lot in like schools, right? When you went to school, there was the track meet, and it's like, I can't run very fast. And then you just sort of, and the other guys are, yeah, I can win this. And they're just going like crazy. And I think that's a really simple way of looking at it. Like, you're not going to take those steps if you really don't believe that you can do it. And, uh, and I think that's really, important to sit down and it's a self-awareness. We've talked a lot about emotional intelligence, and one aspect is self-aware. Like, what is my level of belief? Is it a 1? Is it a 10? Is it 100? Is it a million? Where am I on that level of belief? And then what do I need to do to get there, right? So the weird thing about beliefs is they're very, very hard to change, and they can change in an instant. Okay. So for example, when I went through my divorce, those 3-4 years were the worst years of my life, bar none. And I felt like an incredible failure. And so I was visiting my dad, and we're sitting there, and sometimes when he's reading his book, I'm fiddling on iTunes or whatever, and you're just sort of sitting there, and the odd time you'll comment this or you comment that. And I just sort of said out of the blue to him, I just feel like such a failure. Like, this is, I can't do anything right. I forget exactly what I said, but it was, I'm just a massive failure, Dad. I just really feel like I'm a failure. And he looked at me and he said, I've never been as proud of you as I have the last 4 years. I was like, what? Don't you know, like this and this and this, and my marriage is gone and blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, he says, I've watched how you've handled yourself, how you've interacted with your children, my grandsons. And I just think you've carried yourself admirably. Like, I've really been impressed on how you've done this. And of course, he has a total different perspective on my life than I do. And it was just, and in that second, it was like, oh, my dad's proud of me. He thinks I'm doing good. I think I'm doing bad. I'd rather believe him than me, right? Mm. And that was the beginning, in many ways, of a change in my life that has brought me to where I am today. Because it really was like just this, and you hit this and you bounce off, or you hit it and you keep going down, down, down. And I don't know that minute that we were talking was the lowest of the low points, but it was the turnaround point.
Sure. And so that brings up a good question, though, is that let's talk about the next thing, which is really important, is that why do you believe in what you believe? Like, where do your beliefs come from? Because I know, and I don't want to get too much. I mean, we don't have enough time really to dive too much into religion in the time of the show. And
even though it's Good Friday, and I thought you were going to preach.
Yes, exactly. And I do know some people that get offended if you question their religion or their religious beliefs. If you even question, why do you believe that you're a Christian, or why do you believe that you're a Hindu, or why do you believe in the gods that you believe in, or the God that you believe in? They get offended by that. And where does that belief come from? And what formulates that belief? And I think that's important to understand, because again, that's what the show is about. One, this is what this training is about. And two, if you want to have a certain beliefs and adopt certain beliefs, then it's really important to figure out how to create those beliefs. And so, because I do believe these beliefs, as you, and I think pre-show we had talked about you saying that beliefs were something that I forgot what you said.
Beliefs are something that I believe to be true, or I know they're true, but they're not necessarily true.
Exactly.
Okay? And I think, just taking it on a very superficial level, I think we can all agree that the sun rises in the morning, right? So that's like a fact. And it doesn't really matter how much you believe it rises at night, it rises in the morning, right? Or the law of gravity is another one, right? Like we all pretty much know that it doesn't matter if you think and believe with all of your heart that you can walk on air. If you're on a 10-floor building and you step off the ledge, you're going to fall 10 floors. We have no experience of anyone not doing that. And so that's kind of like in the fact level. But when it comes to I'm a good person or I'm worthy of the promotion and those sort of things. Those are beliefs that, or like you were talking about religious beliefs, I believe that's true. I know that's true. I don't understand why you don't know that's true. Right. And so that's kind of the distinction is, whoops, it's something that we know to be true. But like, I believed that I was a slow runner when I was in high school and I outran the fastest guy. So my belief was wrong. I outran him because he wanted to kill me and he was chasing me. So I had a little extra motivation. But, there's lots of times in our lives like, oh, I believe this girl really likes me. And then, oh, she doesn't like me at all, 6 months later. So, we have these beliefs that can be really changeable. We really are sure of them now, but later on we realize that not necessarily true.
So again, where do those beliefs come from? Where are they created from?
Where do they come from?
Good question, Scott. I'm glad you asked me. So let me start, and then I got a question for you. Okay.
Okay.
So first and foremost, most children are taught certain things by their parents or by their teachers when they're growing up. And those teachings, whoever teaches them, because you're so young and innocent, you believe the person that's telling you certain things. And so their beliefs become your beliefs. And so you get influenced by the people that you trust, know, and like, and believe in. And so, Scott, one question is that you believe that the people that you hang out with are important for your beliefs. Can you go into that?
Yes. And I just want to say one little thing before I get into that, which was about, you asked me the question. I thought, I'm not doing all the hard work here. I'm just going to ask it back to you. But when you said what you said, you reminded me when my son was about 5 years old, he came up to me one day and he said, Dad, how much is 2 + 3? And I go, 5. He goes, Dad, how much is 2 + 3? I go, 5. Dad, how much is 2 + 3? I thought, why is he asking me this question? So I said, I don't know. How much is 2 + 3? 5, he says. He was all happy and off he went. So I have one of my plans as a digital nomad running around the world is to decide eventually, because you just can't, I can't be a gypsy forever, right? So I want to have, but I don't want to live in just one place.
That's a belief, though.
It is. It is. But yeah, I don't want to be a gypsy forever. I still want to explore. So my plan is I want to spend 3 months in Canada, my home and native land, with my grandson and my sons and my family. And then I want to spend 3 months in another country and 3 months in another country, and then 3 months in a random country. So in a year, I'll have 9 months where I'm going to places that I'm familiar with. And then 1 month where I say, oh, it'd be really good to go to Madagascar or to Nepal or someplace. And so, and I thought the way that I would do that was the way I'm doing it now, which is just get an Airbnb or go on booking.com and get a place for 3 months. And I'm watching this guy on YouTube, and he's a digital nomad. And he says, I bought a place in Bogota, and I bought a place in Montenegro, and I bought a place in Kuala Lumpur. And I like to go between those 3 places. I said, yeah, that's my plan. That's what I want to do. And he says, the reason why I bought the places as opposed to rent the places is, and he have all these lists of reasons. And I thought, those are really good reasons. That's a really good life that he's planning out. I never thought about it that way. And I never thought that, yeah, like I could do that. And so my belief shifted because of the influence of this individual. Now, yesterday I had dinner with a group of real estate investors who are all multimillionaires. And one of them builds skyscrapers. So most real estate investors will renovate a house. This guy builds skyscrapers, right? And his buddy, who is sitting beside me, does a lot of coaching or programs on wealth and using real estate as a way of creating the wealth. But his focus is more on wealth and the mindset of someone being wealthy. And he says to me, and to the rest of us, I do this 1 week program with about 6 to 17 people on average. And each person pays $50,000 to come and spend the week with me. And I thought, if I had a week program and you were to ask me how much I would charge for the week program, I'd be like, 3,000, 5,000, maybe 8,000 would be stretching it. And I'm sitting beside a guy who does $50,000 per head. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this guy is not that impressive. So if he can do it, there's no problem for me to do it, right? Of course, he's got 30 books and he sold 2 million copies of his books, and he's got this and he's got all these other things. But in an instant, I was like, what the hell am I thinking? 3,000, 5,000, get out of here. He does 50, you can do 50. But would my beliefs and attitudes changed if I hadn't been exposed to him and sat beside him, sat at the table, talked with him? Absolutely no, right? I would have been stuck in that small little box that I had created. And so there's 2 examples of people that, I wouldn't say I spent a lot of time with. One was like, 3 hours. But they had a pretty profound impact on my beliefs, because I then recognized, that I wasn't thinking big enough, right? And they were all talking about that, how we have to think. Even the guy doing the skyscraper was, I need to think bigger.
I need to build an entire city somewhere.
So Stan, my buddy in Kenya, had a really good question. Hey, Stan, how do you develop that art of belief to the point of trusting the beliefs? I'll let you take it first.
Oh, well, thanks. Hey, Stan. Well, first of all, Stan, thanks for watching, and thanks for joining on and asking the question. How do you develop the art of beliefs to the point of trusting the beliefs? And so that's a good question. Again, there's 2 ways of doing it. Right. The first way is exactly what Scott said, which is an instant change. It is a instant belief in something, and that could be based upon a triggering event. Okay, so let me give you an example. Is somebody that believes that they're going to live forever, that smokes and drinks a lot, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm as healthy as an ox. I'm okay. There's no challenge. There's no issue. I'm just going to smoke and drink until I die. And then they go to the doctor for an annual checkup and find out that they have lung cancer or they have some kind of cancer. Or the doctor finds something and says, if you don't stop smoking, then you're going to have 6 months to live. And all of a sudden now, because they listen to that doctor, they can stop cold turkey because they want to live longer, because their belief of wanting to live is greater than their belief of smoking cigarettes on a daily basis. And so how can this all of a sudden now, when you're smoking, a component of smoking is nicotine, and nicotine is a physical addiction. Your body is physically addicted and wanting and desire that. And yet all of a sudden, because of the news from a doctor, your mind and your belief will overcome that physical addiction, and you can stop right away. And you've seen it, I've seen it. There's stories of individuals stopping cold turkey. They're smoking, they're drinking, their negative, bad behaviors because of some triggering event that causes them to instantly change their belief, right? And so that's the first way it could be, again, because of some expert that they trust in and believe in tells them something, could be the triggering event, or they could be watching TV or reading a book or, absorbing some kind of information that all of a sudden triggers something in their head and changes their belief instantly. The second way is reality is created through validation. So that's a writer downer there, which is reality is created through validation. So the more something happens, the more that belief becomes true. So let me give you an example of this. The first example, or the example of this is that you're out at night, maybe you're driving home from work and it's dark at night, and all of a sudden this light flashes across the sky and you're going, what the heck is that? Right. And it just kind of like flashes and then kind of hovers and then it flashes. You're like, That can't be a UFO. That can't be a flying saucer. I mean, those things don't exist. And then the next night you're driving home and the same thing happens. And, all of a sudden this light flashes and it's moving around. You're like, what the heck? Right. And then it happens again and again and again. And after the fourth or fifth night, you're like, that's a freaking UFO. Like that's, you now believe in UFOs because you've seen it 5 times in a row, or, maybe you're still in doubt, only then it happens again and again. And the more it happens, the more you have convinced yourself that that is the truth, that is now a belief that you created, that before you did not believe in the existence of UFOs and flying saucers, only now you've seen it, right? The proof is there and the validation is there. The validation happens over and over again. And so the more you can create a particular result, and don't go for the big results because you might fail right away. Only if you can create small results, small successes lead to big successes. And so if you have a big goal, what are the small successes that you can create on the way in order to achieve that big goal? And the more small successes you have, the easier it is to believe in that big goal. So those are 2 different ways of creating that belief so that it sticks with you. And Scott, do you have any additional ways or additional comments to that?
No, I think you covered it really, really well. I would look at like sometimes I'll write something I don't think it's very good, but I'm a bit stuck, right? So I'll take someone whose opinion I like, trust, and admire, and I'll send it to them and I say, can you just take a quick look? And I'm talking about like 4 paragraphs. I'm not talking about 40 pages. And just, let me know if I'm on the right track or on the wrong track, right? And because I can't really always see myself. So sometimes I'll just ask other people for their opinions. Like, I'm a very slow runner. Well, and then I ask my dad or I ask you, and well, you can outrun us, or, you're a very fast runner. And then you have a decision whether you believe yourself or you believe the other people. And that's that's the challenge, right?
So we call that social validation, right? And again, the more something happens, the more validation you receive, whether it's through your own perception or through others that are validating maybe some thought or belief or habit, then the more that belief becomes true. So social validation, right? And it could be professional validation, right? If you're working on a business thing, could be, emotional or relationship validation. So if you're dating somebody and you think you're a horrible person, only, the person you're dating, all her friends think you're great. Again, additional social relationship validation, right?
Because we can be really hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that, if you talk to your friends and they is this really true? Right? This is what I think. Is it really true? They'll give you a different opinion. And my advice is always, as long as they're not being negative, when, if they're more positive about you than you are, believe them. If they're more negative than you are about you, don't believe them. Because you have the haters. Doesn't matter what you do, they're not going to like it, right? And but the whole point of the beliefs is the more I believe in myself, the more I'm going to be able to accomplish. And if I don't believe in myself, I'm not going to be able to accomplish more. And that's a belief, right? I'm sure you could find someone where that's not true, but you could find someone that inherited money and pissed their parents' inheritance all away, but it was so much that it would take 2 lifetimes to do, so they still have lots of money and they haven't done anything. So I mean, it's not a fact, but generally speaking, for me, that's the way I look at it.
So there's 2 quotes that I think are writer downers that everyone should know, that everyone should have. The first one is haters gonna hate, right? Haters gonna hate, right? So like you said, whatever happens, there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to be jealous of you, or that's going to hate you, that's going to not like you for some reason. I don't know what it is. Only, hey, haters gonna hate. Okay. So just filter it out and move forward. The second one I think is more applicable to this, which is what you believe to be true is true for you. And that's key, right? What you believe to be true is true for you. And that is so powerful because, if you believe that you can succeed, that's true for you. It might not be true for other people, and it might other people might be those haters, right? They're not going to believe in you or whatever. And again, so here's another good example of this in history, and there's multiple good examples of this in history. Only the one that pops out to my mind is always the story of this guy named Roger Bandler, right? Richard Bandler. I'm sorry,
Richard Bandler, right?
Okay, Richard Bandler. And he did this thing called
He was a canoeist, wasn't he? Wasn't he
Yes.
always in a canoe?
No, he was the thing that you were talking about earlier. He was the runner that was faster than everybody else.
Right, right.
So he did
And
this thing.
he broke a record of some sort.
Yeah, so he did this thing that was impossible at the time. And what was impossible was this thing called the 4-minute mile. And
Yes.
it was impossible. Nobody could run that fast. And there were stories out there that was saying that it was physically impossible. Like your bones weren't strong enough, your tendons weren't, the body wasn't made, and nobody could ever break this 4-minute mile. And he had this belief that he could do it. And, for all of recorded history before this point in time, nobody ever ran faster than a 4-minute mile. And then all of a sudden, I believe this was in 1948, if I believe correctly, if I remember
somewhere
correctly, 1948, he ran a 3-minute, and I believe it was 58 or 56 or 3 minutes and 56 seconds or 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Anyways, it was under 4 minutes by a few seconds. And he broke that record. And it was like, it was impossible, except it wasn't, because he believed that he could do it. So he accomplished the impossible. And what was really amazing about his feat, right? The fact that he broke it and did something impossible was amazing. Only was even more amazing was that in the decades since he broke that record, there have been thousands and thousands of people that have done the same thing. And so what happened was that he created this belief that running less than a 4-minute mile was possible. And because not only did he do it, he showed and proved that it was possible. All of a sudden, other people started to believe the same thing, and they were able to accomplish the same thing. And so because of his belief, all of a sudden now thousands of people can do it. And even high school students can run less than a 4-minute mile. I couldn't when I was in high school. Only I know other people.
I broke a 6-minute mile. I was very happy about that.
Yes, mine was my fastest time was 5 minutes and 12 seconds. So
you were faster than me. Now I'm really depressed.
Yes. And anyways, though, what's again key was that the power of his belief. And some other quick examples, Scott, was this guy named Walt Disney created this theme park that nobody believed in. And how about these guys named the Wright brothers? Right? They created this machine that would fly in the air, and everyone thought that how can humans fly?
Right.
And history again, time and time again, Thomas Edison, the light bulb, right? Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nobody believed in his secret chicken recipe. And he had to talk to 1,000 people before somebody believed in him and actually invested in him. And now it's like a multi-billion-dollar company. So time and time again, the power of beliefs will drive your success. And even if haters are going to hate, if your belief is strong enough and you do the actions and take the actions that you need to in order to accomplish that belief, then you will see successes. And the more successes you see, the greater your successes will be. Ooh, that's a good one too, Scott. The more successes you see, the greater your successes will be.
It was 46 days after he made that record that it was broken by one of his rivals named Landley, who had a time of 3 minutes and 57.9 seconds. And so it was broken again and again and again.
But it's amazing, though, for hundreds of years before then, if somebody did it, it wasn't recorded. Only if all recorded of all the athletic events of everything that happened, nobody ever did it. And everyone thought it was impossible. And it was just through his power of belief that he created that possibility. He did the impossible. And I believe, as you said, Scott, what you believe to be true is true for you. And if you believe you can do the impossible, well, as long as you believe that's strong enough and you take the actions in order to achieve it, there's a good chance that you can achieve it.
Right. So we do have a question from a Facebook user. Is belief a mindset? And he followed it up, or she followed it up with, you mean we are products of our environment? Maybe we should change our environment to change our beliefs. And I definitely believe that if you don't like your set of beliefs that you've got, change your environment for sure, and it makes a huge, huge difference, because we do have such strong influences on each other when we're, in proximity, or when we're interacting with different people. It makes a large difference. So if you're with a bunch of negative people that keep telling you, you should get drunk with us on Friday night, and don't study and don't learn and don't be entrepreneurial or don't try to better yourself, then, it's very difficult to break out of that.
Yeah. So, back to that first question, is belief a mindset, right? And I would say that absolutely it is a mindset, and it's even more powerful than that, though. It is a mindset, only it is also part of your core, right? It's also something deeper than just thinking about something. It's something that, again, is a part of who you, like when you actually believe in something, you become that belief, right? And so you're part of that. And so it starts with a mindset, and then it infiltrates the rest of your body, your mentality, your emotion, your psyche, your spirituality. It becomes who you are. And until it becomes to that point, then it's just a thought, right? And so beliefs are so powerful that it, like I said, it is part of who you are. And so that's why some people get offended when you question that belief, because you're not just questioning a mindset now, you're questioning that individual. You're questioning who they are, right? Fundamentally, what kind of person they are when you question that belief. And so that's the kind of belief that you need to have, though, sometimes in order to achieve those miracles, those impossibilities. In order to make that, you have to be kind of that fanatical sometimes. And absolutely, if you have naysayers and haters, and that's who you surround yourself with, as the saying goes, Scott, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most,
Yeah.
right? And you want to achieve something better. And so think about it this way. If you're on an athletic sport, for example, volleyball, I have a friend, his daughter's on a volleyball team, and she's the best player on her team. Well, because she's the best player on her team, the rest of her team aren't so good, and the team doesn't do so well sometimes, and she doesn't see a lot of improvement. Now she gets better just through practice and all that kind of stuff. Only her progress is quite slow. Now, if she was the worst player on the best team and she was able to learn from everybody around her, then her rate of growth is going to be much faster, because she's going to be forced to learn faster in order to keep up with those people that are surrounding her, right?
Right.
And so that's the same way with our environment and our business and everything else. If we want to achieve a certain thing and the people around us are, naysayers, negatives, or they don't believe in what we believe in, then yes, absolutely, you want to start gravitating towards people who are similar minded or have achieved what you want to achieve, so that you can learn from them. And so, like you said, Scott, having dinner with a network of multimillionaire real estate investors is a great way for you to expand and learn more and open your beliefs, because
Absolutely.
done what you haven't, and so they can show you different things you've never thought about.
Yeah. Really good points. All right. So, Chaffee, let's just wrap this all up with, if somebody has beliefs that they recognize are not helping them in their life, what's one thing that they could do to change them?
Say the question again, Scott.
If people have a belief that is not helping them in their life, so it's a belief that's holding them back, what's one thing that they could do to change that belief?
So first and foremost, I would I do want to interject something before we end as well, though. Only let me answer this question first,
No,
which
no, you
is,
can't. We're done.
I know. You keep saying that. Just kidding. Now I forgot the question again. So if you have a belief that is not benefiting you or helping you, or is a negative belief for some reason, first and foremost, be open to adapting and be open to embracing new beliefs. Okay, so the biggest challenge that I see with people that believe certain things are they're stuck in their beliefs and they're not willing to open themselves up to believe in other things, different things, new things. They just close their minds off. And a big example of this, and again, we don't have time to go into it during this talk that we're having, is politics. Like, people are stuck in their beliefs in politics, and they're not willing to listen to another point of view, and instead they just insult other people who don't believe in what they believe in. Well, that's not going to help you grow, expand, and either reaffirm your belief or be open to a different belief, right?
Yeah.
And so be having an open mind and being open and willing to believe in other things is the first step. And then the second step is questioning why you believe in what you believe. Like, if this belief is hurting me, why do I believe it? Because it's not helping me. So be willing to question that belief and be willing to question all your beliefs. Now, questioning your belief is going to cause you one of two things, as I said before. It's either going to help reaffirm that belief and make it even stronger, because you've questioned it time and time again. And every time you question it, you come to the same belief. You know that this has to be true because I've questioned it multiple times. And, getting other people's feedback during that questioning as well, not just your own feedback, right? Or two, by getting other people's feedback, by questioning that belief and getting other people's feedback, it's going to help you formulate a new belief. And that new belief might be something that is going to be more beneficial to you. That's going to help you more. And so, it's here's a common belief that most people have, is that, I wasn't born to be wealthy, right? I've heard that by a lot of people. I wasn't, or my status doesn't allow me to be wealthy, or,
Okay. I understand.
I was born in the slums, or I was born in a
I'm born poor, I'm going to stay poor.
I'm born poor, I'm going to stay poor, right? That's just my lot in life, shall we say, right? That is a belief that holds you back.
Right.
And, the people around you, you might end up joining a gang, and the gang, basically says, hey, you're an idiot, and the only way for you to succeed in life is to join the gang and commit crimes, right? I mean, that is a belief. And again, because you believe that and you're not open and willing to question that belief, then you're stuck where you're at. Okay. And so if you're willing to open up and look at other examples in life, and look at examples of immigrants, refugees, people that are born poor, that have transcended that and now are rich and successful and wealthy, look at their examples and follow and do what they do. Then you have to question is, can I break out of this? Is my belief now that this is my lot in life and just accept it? Or do I believe that I have the resources, the power, the knowledge, and the skills, and the strength to overcome my lot in life that other people say, to become something greater than that, to become, whatever. And if I adopt that belief, how is my life going to change? Right. And so, again, that's an example of changing your beliefs from what you've maybe been told by everybody surrounding you to now having a new belief because you've seen, the Ben Carlsons, the individuals that have come from nothing and developed and become great.
I was going to say, Chaffee, if that was your specific belief that you needed to work on, that one way you could do that would be by reading books or biographies or documentaries of people who started out incredibly poor and then became wealthy or became well off, at least, because there's hundreds if not thousands of those stories out there that you could look at and say, see, it's not true, see, it's not true, and see, it's not true, and then be inspired by them to change your life.
Absolutely. And then the second way, a good way, is to find our coach or a mentor that's going to help you through that process
and work with them, for sure.
Work with them. And I repeat again, the reason that I'm a coach or mentor, Scott, was because I saw what coaching and mentoring did to my life and my business. And I love the results. And I love how when I work with somebody and I learn with somebody, how I can grow as an individual. And I wanted the same thing for other people. And I wanted the same thing to help other people achieve their successes and create their stories. And so that's why I became a coach, just because when you love something and the results of something, then you want to share that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly why I went to, and I've had multiple businesses in the past, and coaching has always been, once I discovered coaching, that has always been a mainstay of my life and who I am and my primary business since then. So
perfect. So was there something else you wanted to talk about before we signed off, or did you talk about it?
Yeah, so I didn't talk about it yet, and I do want to throw this out there.
It's too bad we're out of time. I believe we have to go right now, Chaffee. Oh, that's a belief. It doesn't mean it's true.
Oh, I was going to say, stay tuned and join us for the next one where we talk all about
the open loop. No. Okay, so I finished teasing you. Tell us what you want to share. I know it's important.
So I this is important because sometimes in life, you've created a belief based upon your results, the validation. Remember I said, right? Beliefs are created through validation. Reality is created through validation. The validation that you've had has always been negative. The validation, the results that you've had have always been, every time I do this, I fail. And so if I do that again, I'm going to fail again, right? And so that is a belief that you've developed and created because of your results. And unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of people. Life sometimes doesn't tend to go the way we want it sometimes, and beats us up sometimes because there are things outside of our control that happen. And so, when that occurs, I do want to give somebody that is, belief is too much of a step for them. Like going from I've failed 100 times to I believe that I can succeed and become a multimillionaire is too great of a gap for them, right? Yeah. And
the subconscious mind just says, no, it doesn't compute. Forget it.
Exactly, right? And so instead of giving up on that belief, right, there's something that I call bridging the gap. How do you bridge that gap from, my set of negative beliefs to where I want to believe, except I just can't believe it because I haven't had the results and I just, it's too far away for me to see it, right? Yeah. And so there's this word that I want to share with people. It's called hope. Okay. And hope, I've always thought when I was growing up and learning about personal development, I was told sometimes that hope is a weak word, because if you really want to truly accomplish something, then it should be believe. You should believe something. You shouldn't hope for something, because hope is weak. Believe is strong. And what I do want to say, though, is that that's not the correct way of thinking, in my opinion, because, again, that belief sometimes is such a great step for some people that they need an intermediary step in order to get to that belief. And that step in the middle is what we call hope. And so you base hope upon the results of other people. You base hope upon the results of things that you read and you see. And so even though you yourself haven't had those results, other people might have had those results, and that gives you hope, right? And so then with that hope, what you do is you take small steps, as we said this before, right? And so the belief is way up here, only, that's too far. Only hope can start down here and move up, and the greater the hope, all of a sudden now you've gotten some little successes, and now that hope starts to become a belief. And the more the hope happens and successes happen, now it's a belief, and then that belief will get you to that higher goal. So that's what we call kind of bridging the gap, right?
Right.
And so I do want to throw that out there for some people that have been beaten down in life, that are struggling, that are just, and I know, especially during this period that we've had of COVID and everything that's been happening, it can be frustrating. It could be depressing. It could be, make people angry and upset and fearful. And so belief might be too far. And I throw in the word there, hope. If you give yourself some hope and then start taking small actions towards that belief. Eventually that hope will become a belief, and that belief will help you create miracles. So
Yeah, absolutely. There is a comment from Stan. I don't want it put up, but Stan, I think if you PM me that comment, and I'll give you the answer. It's not really relevant to what we're talking about today in terms of beliefs, but I'll give you my opinion there. But I tried to copy it. I can't copy it, and then I won't remember. So if you're listening, send it off to me, and we can chat about it at another time. So Chaffee, I think this is when I'm going to get Sharub to show people how they can contact you if they want more hope and changing their beliefs to grow their business. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in and joining us. Appreciate all the comments and questions. They're excellent. The interaction is one of the reasons why we love doing these live. And Chaffee, one last word of wisdom, or you can use 3 or 4 words if you wish.
Thanks. Which is, I go back to, what you believe to be true is true for you. And so what would serve you better is to have negative beliefs or positive beliefs, right? And I choose to believe what's good and what's positive. That's why I'm a minstrel dreamer. And I recommend that you surround yourself with people that are supportive and encouraging and develop beliefs that are going to benefit you in your life and in your business. So
yeah. Work on self-awareness. And once you know where you're at, then you can make a change.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Chaffee.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you next time.